tonight is a nice mixture of poets from Newcastle and poets from Hull. And my first guest who we have up here is a guy I first met as a singer-songwriter. And he's really well known in, well, I was going to say in the Tyneside area, but nationally as well, as a singer-songwriter. A man who can really belt out a tune. And then one day he did the scariest thing that he's ever done in his life. He put down his guitar and he read a poem. And since then, I've actually published a collection of his poems called Last Night I Married the Audience. And it was one of the best-selling collections that I've ever published. So I owe him a lot for that as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Simma!
Thank you. I'll probably knock you up with an invoice if you owe me.
Yep.
On my iPad. Hiya. It's really, really nice to be here. There we go. So I'm not very strong. I might be a big white Geordie, but I'm not very strong. Okay. I wasn't quite sure what to open with, but as I walked in, someone said to me, "Have a good show." And I've got a poem called "Have a Good Show." These nights, I don't know how many of you are performers or how many of you attend these nights where there's lots of performers on. You hear the phrase bandied about quite a lot. This is called "Have a Good Show." Have a good show, mate. Do your best and they'll love you. Not undead. Well, within boundaries. Not actual murder. Well, really, I wish you every success. Well, maybe not every success, but the ones that won't make me jealous, I genuinely hope you can achieve. I want you to find what you're looking for, as long as I approve of your discovery. If I find that you have reached a peak before me, I'll have to renegotiate my journey. You see, every piece of praise you receive is drawn from a finite praise bank. Every round of applause you get depletes the great cosmic lake of applause. And when anyone gives you a compliment, it invalidates every single time anybody's ever told me I'm any good at anything, from riding a bike to kissing a girl. So please, please, fail publicly and miserably. But you know, have a good show. I thought I'd do something that I've just written as well that's not in the book. I thought I'd do possibly the most, I don't know, it's really dialecty. And also I'm writing a lot of rhymey stuff because I'm supposed to be putting a record out next year. So I thought I'd better get back to writing some songs, but they just keep coming out as rhymey poems. But this is, I spend a lot of time in bars in Newcastle performing. Like pretty much every night I've got a lot of residencies and stuff, and the in between the songs bit keeps getting longer and longer and longer, and I was telling a lot of stories and I thought maybe I'd try and turn some of them into poems. This is called Observation, and it's about a thing that happened to me about 2 years ago. I was in the Indian restaurant. It was easy for us to tell, not just by the Indian food, but the lovely Indian smell. There was Indian music playing, some bouncing Bhangra beats, an Indian Cobra lager to go with your Indian eats. I was admiring an Indian picture of the Indian Taj Mahal, when into India fella Geordie on his mobile phone made call. He looked around the Indian artefacts and staggering, dripping wet, shouted at his mate down his mobile, "I'm in the Chinese, what'll I get?" Right, okay. Something's happened to me recently, which was like I sound really shallow when I say this. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, and I gave up smoking a little while ago, and I've done many, many difficult things in my life. But I had to give up booze. I had to stop drinking. It really was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Even with everything, you know, even with every difficult thing I've ever done. But before I gave up drinking, I always had to make the distinction between what I was and what I wasn't. And this is called Glendifference. It's my own brand of whiskey. I don't want you to think I'm one of those you think you know, stand up straight with strangers and say, "My name is," and I am. I have a sneaking leaning, but I'm not on that team yet. I'm the type who slyly spies the fine line, but turns a blind eye. while the great and famous debate their dependencies, their opiate and stimulant-stained pasts and presents, as the cooler than me take lines of designer finery. I look her in her big old brown eyes and the battle begins again. Anyway, I know my limit. I just choose to ignore it. I'm not a burden on the country, no suburban ruffian. I'm a casual, maybe the one the papers rail against. There's a definite distinction. I'm not an alkie, I'm a drunk. Thanks for Right then, I got. Let's see where I get by the end of this. This is a new one as well. These are two. Actually, I'm going to do these two together because they're two about the same subject but written quite far apart. There's a lot of talking to people who you rather wouldn't talk to in my job, and I've noticed, especially since. Does everybody know where? What's the place called now? Rothbury. Does everybody know where Rothbury is now? Because of the man with the shotgun. Because 6 months ago nobody knew where the Rothbury was, but now we go, oh yeah, that's in Northumberland, you know. But you only knew it from like outdoor adventures, from school trips and stuff like that, you know, when I was a kid. And if you had a shotgun, apparently, you knew it quite well. But because I work in the Newcastle city centre, a lot of people decided that they knew him after he was dead. And would tell you, oh, I knew him, you know, I knew him when he used to do the doors and that, you know, no, you live in Ahuana. Which is a scary phrase in Newcastle. You live in Ahuana. Okay. Get me father on you. You didn't know your father. But people will invent backstories for themselves, you know. This is called fictional upbringing poem, until I come up with a better title. I'm from the bottom end of Benwell, at the back of Benton Bind, where the cottlers cruise in twos because they're scared what they might find. It's a sure shorthand way to say I'm a troubled, tortured man and make me look much harder than I actually am. My fictional upbringing tales are littered with abuse and told with slang and swear words I don't actually use. The streets were paved with kneecaps and the schools were full of knives. The houses full of homeless and were feared for our lives. I drank from I was 7 and I smoked from I was 5. And we fought the foreigners downstairs because they were less deprived. I know the Barretts and the Mackers and the Donnellys and the Lees. It's best that you don't mess with men who mix with lads like these. I knew that bloke off telly when he used to work the doors. I knew the dodgy landlords and the gangsters and the whores. But you better not say my name if you meet them in the street, just in case they take offence the next time that we meet. It's not that they don't know me, it's just I've got several names. And these are honest criminals, the kind that don't play games. I can justify behaviours from reclusive to psychotic and rationalise my attitudes that are phobic and neurotic. So don't you even look at me unless you want to be berated and attacked by violent fiction and the roots that I've created. Thank you very much. I've got time for 2 more. Jeff? I know, he always got the NHS back.
One.
Keep the public or singer? Singer. Okay, well this gives me the opportunity to say, if you want to hear the other one or read the other one, you can buy my book. It's available from Amazon. It's called Last Night I Married the Audience. Or you could find me online at newcastlepoet.com. If you're a Hull poet and you want to piss off all the other poets in Hull, buy hullpoets.com. Because I bought newcastlepoet.com just when no one was looking. I think it quite annoyed everyone. There are other ones, you know. This is about my job and what Jeff was talking about before, going from being the singer to the poet. It's called Singer. I've always been a singer, ever since I can remember. I recall a nasty kid saying, "Why are you always singing?" It's got a ring to it, singer. Sounds like a job if you say it properly. People will accept it as respectable, a career, even for someone like me. But now, I am a poet. It's the same people keep saying. It isn't, I proudly announce, and I wait for your reaction. Yeah, you're going to write like Geordie poems and that kind of thing, like about Newcastle and that, write about Shearer, write about Jackie Milburn. People love that, Ewart Ben loves that. Not that his father would let him read poems like. So, do you like Geordie poems and that? No. I thought I could write universal poems, eternal themes, separation and loss, how the shortest distance can become insurmountable if you build barriers instead of bridges. You could write about them bridges on the quayside. I love them bridges. Write about the new one. You might get a grant if you write about the new one. Do you get paid like when you're being a poet? It's a waste of government money, I reckon. They could be building houses with that money. No. I work in horrible bars for grasping landlords. I make ends meet and I get the work where I can. Have you got a job like... I mean a job though. My Mickey works in QuickSave. I could get him to ask for you. You could write a poem about it. How are you? What rhymes with QuickSave? No. I don't need a job. I have a job. I'm a singer. I sing in bars. Here do you sing Geordie songs and that? Like Dance to the Daddy, Cushy Butterfly, I Love Alan, and Fog on the Tyne. Do you sing Fog on the Tyne? Yes, I do. Thanks very much. Thanks for having us. Bye.
Simma, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Simma. I was thinking maybe we should have a running translation up at the back there for the non-Geordies in the audience.
Much is made by accent. Yeah. It's very understandable.
Yeah. Did you all get that?
Yeah.
Good. You all got that. That's good.